What an extraordinary time in our lives. Who would have ever thought that we could share so much of who we are and what we're doing with the world? We can share recipes and decorating tips. We can share things like, I believe, like how to restore a transmission on a car. We can share our hopes and our dreams, our wisdom, more knowledge, and of course, those adorable pictures of our children and our grandchildren. We can share those with the world in nanoseconds. Isn't that amazing? It's amazing. I see you shaking your heads. Yeah. Today, you can Vine it, you can pin it, you can link it, you can Facebook it, you can tweet it, you can text it, all with a piece of aluminum. I wanted to say platinum, but no, it's a piece of aluminum and plastic. Isn't that amazing? What's more, we can live with our head in the clouds. We don't need a mind anymore. We don't need a memory anymore. We can just put all of our documents, all of the stuff that we know, we can put it up in a cloud and we can access it 24/7. Wouldn't that be the best gift ever? Wow. You know, there's so much today to see and to share and to experience and to communicate with others. You know, it's no wonder that sleep has become kind of an inconvenience. And from what I understand with the sale of sleep aids today, yeah, we're having trouble sleeping because there's so much to see, do, and explore. Have you heard anything about that new form of anxiety that they're talking about today, that psychologists are talking about today? There's an acronym for it. It's called FOMO, fear of missing out. Fear of missing out. I mean, after all, today, you know, when we were kids, remember we used to sit there and count on our fingers how many friends we had, Jackie, Susie, you know, Megan, Oliver. And all of a sudden, we can have hundreds, we can have thousands, and we can have millions of friends that we can tell them how interesting and exciting our lives is. Isn't that something? 24/7. My, we live in complex and intoxicating and colorful times. Wow. Now, I have to tell you something. I really love technology. I'm an internet bride. I met my husband, Mark, about 8 years ago, and on eharmony.com, and I paid $39.95 for him. He keeps saying that it was a trial membership and I didn't pay anything, but I know I paid $39.95. And you know what? He's priceless. And Mark, he thought I was priceless too, until he gave me something special. He gave me a friend, and the friend was called Mac. MacBook Air, 13 inches. And all of a sudden, poor Mark became a technology widower. Imagine that. Poor guy, he's so good to me. He's the priceless one. And I didn't have time for him anymore because I was so fixated on my new technology partner, my Mac. And I got to tell you something what I really like about Mac. I was thinking about it this morning because Mac fits very nicely in my purse. I can access Mac anytime I want. And he doesn't say to me, how come I don't have any clean boxers in the drawer? Isn't that something? It's interesting. I've been traveling. I've been observing. I've been listening. So many people have been coming to me and saying, Cheryl, why is it that we're so connected digitally, and technologically, we're so connected with one another and inside of one another's lives and living rooms? What's happened, though? It seems like we're more relationally and emotionally, and some people would say spiritually, disconnected more than ever before. Wow. And I started thinking about it, and I thought, wow, it does seem like there's more drama in people's lives. Think about young people today in school and the things that are going on. You think, man, there's so much drama. And then next off, I was thinking, well, it's not just in our homes and with our families, and he said, she said, or I felt this way, or that person's being passive-aggressive, or whatever it is. Our politicians, our role models, talk about drama. Talk about being disconnected with us as people. So my question to you today is, can the digital age replace what the heart needs? Can the digital age replace what the heart needs? I have a friend named Ramon, and a few years ago, he was going through some really, really hard times. He lost his job. He thought he was going to lose his home. He had all sorts of personal issues, and this is a strong man. But all those events brought him to his knees. I called him one day and I said, Ramon, what can I do to help you? What can I do to help? And he says, you know what, Cheryl, I've been thinking about it, and I'm going to get by. I'm going to get by. I'm going to make it because you know what? I am loved by at least one person. I am believed in by at least one person, and you, that makes two. And I know that my life has meaning. I have purpose and I have a future. I just have to keep that in my mind, that I am loved, that I am believed in, and that my life has meaning, and I will get through the rough spots. And I started thinking about it, and I started thinking about, you know, it doesn't matter if we're a Generation X or Y or millennial or a baby boomer or beyond a baby boomer. Isn't that what we all want? To be loved, to be believed in, and to know that our life matters. Daughters just want to know that their moms think they're pretty and smart. Sons just want to know that their fathers accept them, warts and all. Mothers want to know that they're just like such a good mom. And fathers want to know that all their efforts and everything is appreciated, that those efforts are appreciated. Sisters want to know that they're loved. Bosses want to know that they're believed in and that what they're doing matters. And employees want to know that too, that they're doing a good job and what they're doing matters and that their boss believes in them. You know, there's ways to make impact today. Technologically, absolutely. Those little tweets and text and messages and all those things that you do, you've got to embrace all the wonder of technology and use it as a way to communicate and to supplement what's in your heart. But also, what about some face-to-face, authentic communication, that eye-to-eye, where you can see one another's body language and expression? What about letters? I'll never forget years ago, it was when I was in my mid-20s, I was working for a company, and my boss, Nacho Cadena, and by the way, they had hundreds of employees, he came to me one day and he gave me a letter on company stationery, and he wrote in longhand, and it said, Cheryl, I love your passion. I love your energy, I love your creativity, I love you, Nacho. Wow. How did that make me feel? Ooh, I was flying high, it was great. You know something? It's more than 30 years later, I still have that posted on my bulletin board. And I believe that that letter, that real written communication that Nacho gave to me, something that cannot be erased, it can't be erased. It's forever for me to cherish. I believe that what that has helped me become an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur, building businesses, selling nearly 1 million books. Because I had that badge, I was wearing that badge, that imprint on my soul, that I was creative, that I was believed in, that I had energy, and that I had passion. You know, what works in the workplace works in the home also. Years ago, I wrote a little book for my mom called Eat Your Peas for Mothers. And I gave it to her. She got the first copy hot off the press. Had a little promise in there that I'd always be there for her, that she could count on me. But then it had pages that said, you know, when did you become so wise? Why did it take me so long to notice? And pages like, oh man, like, I'm sorry for all the aggravating years. I thought everything evolved around me. And I watched my mother come to the end of this book, and all of a sudden tears came down her face. And she looked at me and she said, I'm so glad I've lived long enough to hear these words. I'm so glad I lived long enough to hear these words. And here all along, I was giving her those Hallmark cards that said, you're the best mom in the whole wide world. And I was calling her every night, and every conversation ended with, love ya. I thought that was enough. She just wanted to know that she was appreciated, that I believed in her, and that her life mattered. Is there someone in your life that needs to know that they're loved, that they're believed in, and that their life matters? I challenge each and every one of you in the audience today to find at least 3 people to give that message to, because I believe in the ripple effect. I believe that the more you do that, the more people will do it for other people. Like that letter that Nacho wrote to me 30 years ago, that inspired me to continue and to write messages to my employees. Now, I have to tell you something. That message of the importance of how we need to let others know that they are loved, that they're believed in, and that their life matters, really came to life to me and with me when I started compiling all the letters that people have written to me over the years about the Eat Your Peas collection and how much it's meant to them. Then I really realized how much our society is yearning for heart-to-heart connection. There's a letter here from Sue. She says, I was hospitalized with Crohn's disease, and I was very, very sick. I was in and out of consciousness. I didn't know if I would make it. My daughter gave me the book, Eat Your Peas for Mothers. I read that book, and I knew I had to get better. I had to walk out of that hospital. I had to be there for her. Cheryl, thank you. That book gave me the will to live. A mother and daughter wrote to me and said that they actually had matching pea pod tattoos done on their legs as a forever promise that they would be there for one another. But a couple of weeks ago, I got a story that just brought me to my knees. A grandmother had purchased Eat Your Peas for grandkids for her teenage son, or grandson. He was going through a depression. She gave him the book, and she wrote all sorts of little messages in there to make it really homey and sincere. And he called her later that night and said that he had planned on ending his life that night. Can you imagine? That little book with that little promise that she'd always be there for him, that she loved him and that she believed in him and that his life had meaning, was going to be kept on his nightstand as a reminder that he was loved. So, who is it that you can reach out to? Is it that neighborhood boy who's having a hard time with his dad right now? But you see how he plays basketball with kids in the neighborhood. Could you go up to him and say, you know what, John, I saw how you play basketball, and I saw how you lead those kids in the neighborhood. Maybe one day you'd be a great coach, or you could lead people, you could manage people. What about that mom that's sitting at home right now, that's retired and maybe isn't getting the validation from people at work, or grandkids are too busy? What about letting her know that her life really matters and that you believe in her and that she still has purpose and meaning? Folks, each one of us has the ability to give our loved ones and strangers and people we meet on our journey along the way, we can give them the best gift ever. Imagine that, the best gift ever. The best gift ever. Letting them know they're loved, that they're believed in, and that their life matters. Now that's truly a connection. Not a question, it's a connection. That's truly a connection. Thank you.